want to give us a quick statement on the game, and then we will open it up to questions.
Let me start by saying, you know what, on Memorial Day weekend, I want to acknowledge all the men and women that have given the ultimate sacrifice for us to have the opportunity to be part of this great society and play this great game. And this is an opportunity this weekend to reflect on so many people that have made that commitment. And so I just, with it being Memorial Day weekend, I certainly would be remiss to not acknowledge how appreciative we are to the men and women and their families that have made that sacrifice to give us the opportunity to live in this great country that we live in. In a football game today, it was, I want to certainly give an awful lot of credit to San Antonio, to Coach Phillips. I thought his team played a heck of a game. I thought offensively, it's as clean as I've seen them play all year. I mean, they didn't put the ball in danger. They didn't have a lot of penalties. They protected the quarterback, a lot of short passing game, getting out of their hands in a hurry. But I thought they played, like I said, without a turnover. I thought they played one of their best football games of the year. I thought they played really well. Give them credit for what they did. They're a really good football team. I certainly don't feel like we put our best foot forward today. I remember in the first quarter we had 3 drops. In the first quarter it was hard to kind of get anything going. And then when you play a talented team like that, especially with their defensive line, they kept Adrian running around back there a little bit. He had some opportunities to sit in there and make some throws, but he had a lot of opportunities where he would hit his back foot and he had to take off running. I think if nothing, we've got to get better. The effort that we put out today is certainly not good enough to win. And, we came in here, we knew it was going to be tough. We know they're a good football team, but at this point, they're all tough. The difference in winning and losing in these games is all one-score games. And so, we have not been beating our chest to say we're 8-0 because we're probably 3 plays away from being 5-3. Just like everybody is. One play away here or there. A lot of close football games, a lot of parity in this league. I think that's a really good football team. I think this was a great wake-up call for us, and if this is what we need to wake up and get better at some things and eliminate some of the foolish penalties and some of the things that shoot ourselves in the foot and have the opportunity to make some of those plays, we'll make it. It just seemed like it was one of those days that, little things like there at the end, Adrian goes to throw an underneath route and he goes to throw it deep and the receiver stopped running. Has he ever done that before? No. Why did he do it here? I don't know. It's one of those games. It seemed like we just couldn't get. It seemed like we were out of sync. Offensively. I probably abandoned the running game a little bit too early and put Adrian in a pocket and had him throw the ball. I probably should have stayed into the running game a little bit more. And defensively, we've been going through some adjustments defensively, and we'll get them straight. We've got Michigan this week, and then have Michigan again. And so it'll be a great challenge for us here in the next 2 weeks to see how we're going to rebound from a loss and see if we can kind of get up, brush ourselves off, and go play the game again. So this was a tough day for the Stallions, but like I said, I'm really we've got some improvements. We got to make for sure. We got to get better.
Questions?
Coach, you guys have been very good in the 2 minutes before halftime. This time you found yourselves trailing at half for the first time this season, but then came out in the third quarter and looked pretty good. What were the adjustments you made at halftime?
I wanted the ball back so bad there at the end of the half, and I called timeout when they were backed up. We had them into a 3rd and I think it was 8 situation, backed up, and there was still a minute some to left. And I utilized one of my timeouts then, thinking if we could get a stop and get the ball back, we would have an opportunity to maybe flip the field and get 2 scores, before the half. Unfortunately, we couldn't get off the field defensively, and they took it down to the final play, made the first down, and then took it down and kicked the field goal. Second half, we didn't do a lot different. Jay Sternberger made a great play down the field. I tell you what, I can't compliment him enough the way that son of a gun stood up and competed. We talked about it was going to be a day of contested catches. It was going to be a day that there was going to be a lot of pulling and tugging, and you were going to have to make some plays in open space, and everything was going to be contested. But that's what it is against good defensive football teams. And I thought Jace answered that bell today. I thought he showed up. He competed. He made catches. He made tough catches. He ran after the catch. I don't know what his final stats were on this, but he didn't have a wide open, just here, throw him an underhanded ball and go catch it. I mean, he made some great plays for us, and that's what great players do. They show up in the big games. So when you say who are the big players, they're the ones that show up in the big games, and I would say that Jace Sternberger is a big-time player from the way he played today, for sure.
Coach, you already know you're hosting a playoff game in a couple weeks. Does that factor in at all today or change the mentality tonight?
It didn't going in, you know what I mean? Last week we gave up 28 points, which was our biggest, you know what I mean, differential that we gave up. We were able to carry it offensively today, playing a really good defensive team. We didn't play well on either side of the ball, really, when you look at the production of it all. We had our opportunities. We have nobody to blame but us because we certainly had our opportunities. But I would like to tell you no, but at the same time, I mean, I think it's hard when we've talked about trying to keep playing at a championship level. Maybe you'll lose a little bit of edge. I don't know. It certainly wasn't something during the week of practice I felt. Wasn't something that I thought we are not ready to play. You know what I mean? Like we are not ready to play. Is it a little bit of an edge? I feel like I'm on the Bud Light hot seat right now with these. But it's very hard for me to answer that, but I certainly didn't feel it. I'm going to say that. I certainly didn't feel it. I am ready to get into playoff football. You know what I mean? I am ready to get into playoff football. This game will mean a lot coming up to us this week with Michigan. Just as we get back into the USFL division. So, because really the ultimate thing is just everybody that's playing right now, Michigan, Birmingham, San Antonio, and St. Louis, we all just want to win 2 games. And they're the last 2 of the season. I mean, we all just want to win 2 games right now. And I think what happens here is important because I think you learn a lot about yourself and you want to take momentum into the playoffs. But I think ultimately it's about what's going to happen week 11 because that's the game that matters for everybody at this point. So I think it'll be some interesting matchups, ones that I'm never been accustomed to, playing somebody not only for a third time but playing them back-to-back. You know what I mean? I know that San Antonio and St. Louis have that same dilemma where they're going to play back-to-back. They have that same thing. It'll be interesting for all of us for sure. But, like I said, I'm excited about what we have ahead of us. I certainly didn't like the way we played, and I've got to do a better job in a lot of areas. But I credit San Antonio with what they did, what they needed to do tonight to win the football game, and I applauded them. They played for 60 minutes. Like I said, I think it's the cleanest offensive game that I've seen them play all season.
Any more?
Coach, now having this first loss and bouncing back, look and talk about how this league this year may relate to last year's USFL. Is it tougher? Is it similar? How do you see it?
No, I think there's probably more talent top to bottom, but I think it was well dispersed in both the XFL and the USFL as well. I think there are some teams that have differentiated themselves where they have come to the forefront, but I think the difference is probably your 2s are a lot better. Your 2s might have been all conference players a year ago. You know what I mean? Everybody that is on these rosters right now is good. And I think, we have had a number of injuries. I know everybody has had injuries, but we have had a number of injuries, but you don't see a big drop off in it all. Like our right tackle didn't play tonight, but you just don't see a lot of drop off in it because the guys that are the backups are very, very talented and deserve to play. And I just think it goes to show you what a great league this is and the opportunity it's giving to so many people that deserve it. When you look at the number of players off these 8 teams that are going to make it into an NFL camp as a second opportunity, that's what this is all about. That's why we play these games. So it's been a lot of fun. I've loved it. I think there was a lot of parity in the other leagues. I just think there's a lot more depth on this one. I think our football team is better this year than we were last year. But I think probably when you look at your 50-man roster, But I think everybody in this league would tell you that same thing, that their 50-man roster is more talented than they were a year ago.
Anyone else?
Coach, you talk about wanting to win those 2 games at the end of the season, and
Yep.
obviously Adrian took some shots today. Any interest in maybe sitting him next week?
No, we haven't talked about the sit game at this point. You know what I mean? We haven't talked about it. I think Adrian has done a nice job. Everybody knows how strongly I feel about Matt Corral and how talented he is and the job that he's done. We rolled quarterbacks a little bit early to give them both an opportunity to play. Probably would have liked to have kept that, but it just wasn't gonna work, and so had to make a decision. At that time, with the success that Adrian Martinez had, it was kind of hard to go away from that, and so that's why he's been the starter. I think he did a lot of really good things today to keep some things alive. We got to get some more help for him on the outside a little bit more, but I don't know. We'll look at it. I'd love to play Matt. I would love to play Matt, and especially as you get into this game this weekend, it may be something that we certainly consider. But at this point, I hadn't even thought about it. Yep, thank you.
Last call. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.